Hello everybody, Alex here. INDEPENDNCE. Independence. Independence. It's a little bit windy. But independence is, let's say, one of the orbiters, one of the ancient space shuttles that used to be in operation. And Independence was actually not one of the flying space shuttles according to the program, because I have to remember the sentence that helps you remember the names of the space shuttles is the sentence for which they are named, which was written by the Spear Shaker, otherwise known as William Shakespeare, also aka Francis Bacon, a reasoner, an age of reasoner, okay? And he said, a Columbian Enterprise to endeavor for the discovery of Atlantis and all challengers be destroyed. Let's see. A Columbian Enterprise to endeavor. Did I get that backwards? Hold on, let's see. It's a Columbian Enterprise to endeavor for the discovery of Atlantis and all challengers be destroyed. Okay, I named 6. Independence is not in that sentence. Now, why is that? Back up a little here. This is the space shuttle model that's actually on top of the piggyback on top of this, I think it's a 747. Here, now, this is at the museum. So, this is not one of the 6 space shuttles, you know. Of the 6, I guess we only really had 4 left after Challenger exploded, Columbia exploded. That would leave Enterprise, Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavor. But this Independence one here, you know, all it would really take, as far as we know, to change vehicles would be just a paint job. All you've got to do is paint over, you know. I was talking to another YouTube channel guy that I have been friendly with, and we've had a collaboration, and I did an interview on his channel, UAP. And he told me about a theory about how there's actually 3 different types of space shuttles. There's the main type that fly up attached to the rocket. But he had seen a drawing that someone had that was in someone's possession after they passed away. That the inside of the space shuttles that launched with the rocket it's a single-seater jet that they can't be doing dangerous things like going up in rockets and flying shuttle jets, or, you know, landing in the ocean and so whatever. But I think the pilots that actually take these things up are volunteers, or they are volunteered according to their skills, and they're unknown. And I think when it detaches from the rocket, they just go land it somewhere because, you know, they don't want to hit that ceiling. But anyway, my question here is, why do you have this one? Why is there Independence? You know, a lot of people that work here at the Space Center, they're kind of miffed because they didn't get a quote-unquote real space shuttle at the Space Center Museum. They got this model, and they say this is a fake mock-up model of a space shuttle that NASA decided to put here. But you know what it could actually be, folks, because if you're a little bit aware and awake, as we pretend to be, and some of us are in the truther community, what you could be looking at is actually one of the landing jets. Like I said, all it takes is a paint job, as far as we know, to make this one of the other vehicles, you know. And they must have had some really nice big paint booths. But, you know, this could have been one that they fired up and landed on runway 33 or 22, you know, out at Kennedy in California. Somebody said, I believe, that they believe they took off from Area 51 from secret bases, flew up into the sky, and then landed on camera with the jet escorting it. But I don't know if some of you have seen the video where you can actually see a space shuttle landing, making jet noise, and then when it lands and it comes to a complete stop, the parachute falls on the ground. You can hear the turbines winding down and air being depressurized. You can hear the jet engines going off. And also, what gets me is, if I'm going to try to insert a photo before I upload this, but if you look on the back of the space shuttle there, do you see the rudder? Now look at that hump. That hump right there. Now, according to the surface design that they give us in the public, that hump is a hypogolic fuel cell that squirts out fuel to steer it when this thing is trying to dock with space station or orbit. Let's say if it's orbiting and it's in a decaying orbit and they want to shoot back up, they can fire these hypogolic rockets. They're liquid cells with oxidizer. But if you look at the front of that engine when it's landing in California, it's open. See if I can put my finger in front of it. Let's see, right? I'm zoomed in too far. My finger doesn't make a difference. Can't see it. But anyway, right in front of the rudder, at the base of the front of the rudder, there's a hole in front of that hump. As if there's an engine, let's say like an engine from a Gulf Stream jet in there. And what if it's not really a hypogolic fuel cell, but it's a jet engine, and you can actually see them open that up when they land. This could have actually... I don't believe that NASA just built this model just for this museum. And that's what everyone says here. My stepdad that worked here for 54 years said, they just built this one just for the museum. It never flew. It's not an actual space shuttle. They just built it for the museum. But you know what? With all of the things that we've been figuring out of how they made the quote-unquote space shuttle program work to the public and on television, and then the perception in the minds of the controlled sheeple was that these are actually vehicles that are going up into space and coming back down, but it's all one vehicle. It could be three, When you see a satellite launching, that could be a scale model in a studio. When you see it landing in California, that could be the actual jet. When you see it taking off from a rocket, I think I saw a rocket launch with the opening intakes on the front of the space shuttle as well when I looked down the camera at the top of the rocket when it was launching. But as our minds open up more and more on this topic, you start to see how the actual drama was portrayed and what props they used and how they used the props. And like I said, all of these, the miniature, the single-seater jet, the one that was attached to the rocket, and the one that lands in California, and this one, could have all been doing something different and actually have different functions, but have the same paint job. Let's say if they wanted to pretend all of this was Discovery, then they would just all say Discovery on them. I mean, think about it, folks. It's not that hard. It's just, all you require is a paint booth, And actually, that engine on the back of this shuttle, it looks kind of made up. It looks like Bondo. Did you ever work on a car and fill in the dents in a fender and put Bondo in there and sand it? Doesn't it? The color's off. It looks like a different color. It's off-white. Maybe it's a snap-on cover that covers the cover they have to put on there when the jet engine's on it. I don't know, but for sure you've seen the jet engine, you've seen the intake holes there, and you've heard the jet engine when it lands. So that's the story. Basically, summarizing again, the story in Houston here at this museum was that this Independence was never a vehicle that flew or went into quote-unquote space. But they just built it as a model mock-up for this museum. And they flew it all the way out here on the back of this 747 and taxied it all the way to this museum on the streets, just for display, just for the programming. So what do you think? Independence. Is it a jet? Did this ever fly? Do you think you've ever seen this before with another paint job on it? It could have been Endeavor. It could have been Atlantis. You know? I'm actually thinking, my gut tells me, this is actually one of the jets that landed in California. When it was time for them to come back from space, they would fire up a jet and take off from Area 51 or something like that, maybe Los Alamos or some secret runway we don't even know about. So nobody would see it, and they'd probably go when there's heavy clouds or where no one's going to see it. Maybe it takes off in the early morning, the wee hours before light, without any lights. And but then when the news crews are looking at the sky and they go, there it is. Yes, the astronauts have gone 5.8 million miles orbiting the Earth. Welcome back to Earth, our heroes. And they're actors. And we know it. So, this is my backyard playground. I just literally got up, left, got a coffee, came over here, laid on the grass. This is Alex Aquarius reporting from the center of the deception. I like to say that. Let me show you where I'm at compared to what's across the street. That over there. That right there, that's the Saturn V rocket building. I've got a video I made in there about a month and a half ago. You can barely see the NASA meatball with the snake's tongue over it behind the tree on the left side of that building. That's the Saturn V rocket part. And actually, if you look over the treetops, where is it? Right there. There you can see Hercules and Mercury. And I think they have that other little rocket, Little Joe, but it's so short you can't see it. It's not above the trees. But this is the jet that I just want to focus on for this discussion. So, what do you think, folks? Does anybody have any opinions, or does anybody know about the history more than I know about? That what did the Independence do? What was it for? Was it a trainer? Did it ever fly? Was it actually a jet to learn how to fly it? I don't know. Or do you think it was a covert prop that just needed different paint jobs? Hold on, there we go. This tripod feels like breaking a twig to get it to get in the spot I want. So, anyway, thanks for coming to Plain Mundane Show. Please enjoy your morning. And think about that. Please comment below. Let me know. You guys have a nice day. And this is Alex Aquarius reporting from the center of the deception.